Ourselves. Okay, everybody, we are live, or we may have been live before. I'm never quite sure how this works because YouTube decides to change it every week.
Yep, we're live. Welcome to our Althea community call. I'm Liz, and I'm here with our co-founders, Jehan, Deborah, and Justin, and our special guest, Matt Bruce, who is from Phillipsburg, New Jersey, and is going to talk to us a little bit about the Altheahood that he's working on. But first, we're just going to get an update. So let's just get right to it. Jehan, what's up? What's going on?
Well, we're building out more. It's mostly Deborah and Justin, but we're building out more Altheahoods. And I went to New York the past week, and I was at a meetup at CoinShares, and I was doing some of that stuff.
Awesome. So for those of you who were following us on Twitter, we showed there was a picture from the meetup in New York. And also Deborah will be in DC next week at the broadband. Actually, why don't you tell us about the conference?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly the name of it. It's put on by the Broadband Communities, which is a great kind of a broadband industry group, and it brings together a lot of players in the traditional legacy big telecom space, and also lobbyists and people in DC that work on the regulatory side of that. Kind of have to have conversations about bridging the digital divide, and keeping the industry strong, and hopefully adding in some extra competition. So that's what we'll be talking about, how our kinds of networks can encourage competition. Obviously, we have the automatic competition, which is great. But what I really am excited to give y'all updates on is the Tacoma Cooperative Network started in June, out there canvassing door to door, getting excited about folks. And over the kind of summer months, they added pre-registrations. They worked on their logistics. They found that many of the people that they talked to were excited about not only having internet service, but also becoming a relay or a gateway and making money as well, and connecting their neighbors. So they onboarded some folks there, and in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, we will be breaking ground, installing antennas. The backhaul will be in probably late next week, and we will be using a mix of, or primarily 60 gigahertz equipment, which will be able to have several hundred megabits per second speeds to subscribers there. So they'll be able to get incredibly fast and less expensive than their current providers there, which is primarily Comcast or Spectrum. And so folks there now are paying about $70, or in many cases, they don't have the internet because that is a prohibitively high bill for them. So very excited that's coming to fruition, and great job, BNN, seeing that project through to groundbreaking. Right behind them is going to be our Oakville network, who have also signed a backhaul lease contract. So they'll be setting up a network there. And that's in the Napa Valley of California. That's probably looking at end of this year. And that will be not quite as many subscribers to start with, but it's a higher income area. So they're able to pay a little bit more to kind of help distribute that backhaul. So, and more exciting stuff. We have a network in Nigeria as well, with our organizer there from Penn Slate. His name is Yakubu or Yax. And he will be starting out with a pilot of about 15 homes in Abuja, which is the capital of Nigeria. It's a very urban, dense urban area. And that will be, we'll be starting to set up some equipment next week. We're also excited to try out the new VJJT dialer stations, which is they're a 5 gigahertz antenna unlicensed, but they, instead of configuring the antennas from a radio dashboard, they have little switches on the bottom that let you configure access points and the stations or the customer premises equipment. So excited to try that out there. And then also, a lot of the people there are very excited to have fixed internet at a lower cost. For most people in Nigeria and throughout Africa, it's only mobile internet. And it's very expensive and a large part of their monthly expenses that they pay now. So to be able to have less expensive internet, to have fixed internet in the home, and then be able to resell that is a really powerful thing that that Yax is able to bring to those folks there. So yeah, and then we also have more people starting Altheahoods and starting in their own neighborhood as well. And I think hopefully you keep in touch with us on Twitter and can see all the great new networks that are starting.
Yeah, we definitely have a bunch of new networks just getting off the ground in the beginning stages. And that's awesome, Deborah. And just for anyone who's watching, leave your questions in the chat. Say hi to us. Yeah, we're here to just answer your questions. And so let us know. Justin, what's up? What is your update? What have you been working on related to?
So most recently, I've been working on Beta 9, and the big feature in Beta 9 is that there are no big features in Beta 9. It is designed to fix a lot of small things and try and get a really polished release for us to sort of sit on for a while we integrate some of our more adventurous changes coming up in 10 or 11. I know I'm a little overdue for a dev update, and I've got some really excellent stories for one, including how to root cause and find a bug that causes routers to stop seeing each other after about 10,000 reconnections, which was actually causing lots of trouble for Deborah, and other bugs like that. Also, a recent event is that we have enabled the XDI bridge as the default in Deborah's deployment. Now, those of you who have been paying attention to our sort of blockchain, Althea blockchain concept is to allow us to use stablecoins and bridge user funds over. While XDI is a POA network, so it is somewhat more centralized than we would like, it does allow users to transact in a stablecoin now instead of later. So as you saw with the XDI bridge integration, you'll find that video also on our YouTube. We've been sort of preparing for this moment for a long time. We cut over the transition. We cut over Deborah's network Monday with minimal issues. We had 30 minutes of degraded service because I forgot to change one of the variables. Everything else works flawlessly. Also, that 30 minutes of degraded service is our downtime budget for the next 2 months, if I'm being. But I think we'll really manage to make it because we haven't had any unscheduled downtime in a really long time. I try and keep a running number. We target 99.9% uptime. I really think that if I didn't upgrade or change anything, we might be able to get 2 nines. But what sort of fun is that? So yeah, that's most of my update. Keep an eye out for an upcoming dev update.
Yeah, and we always tweet out those dev updates. So follow us on Twitter at Althea Network, and yeah, you'll see those updates. And Justin's updates are really, really great. I'm a less technical person, even though I do have a lot of technical knowledge, and I can even understand Justin's updates. And I'm like, wow, this is really, I learn a lot from them. And I think a lot of our Althea community out there really does. So thank you for doing an awesome job on those, Justin. And yeah, can't wait for the next one. Chris with a K in the chat says, those dang depreciated variables. Yes, I think we agree on that. So yeah, let's get into, we have our special guest here, Matt Bruce, who is in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, and he is working on an Altheahood project for us. So Matt, do you just want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your project, and then I know the team has questions for you. And also, I'm sure our audience does too. So go for it.
Sure. My name is Matthew Bruce. So I live in Phillipsburg, New Jersey. So this is the last city in New Jersey before Pennsylvania on the west coast of New Jersey. So I actually started an internet project about 2 years ago in Guyana, South America, which is where my family and my wife are from. And so I started out trying to provide an internet service long story short, it's still on hold, but that whole research and project led me to Althea, and so here I am. And now, I want to provide this service to Phillipsburg as well as Guyana, South America, which is right behind Phillipsburg, or it possibly might blow past Phillipsburg. Who knows? So that was just a quick intro.
Matthew, I'm really excited to hear about like your journey. You had looked at some different kind of centralized solutions, and what sort of led you to think, okay, well, having a decentralized Althea network is going to be better at the end of the day than some of the other solutions you looked at.
All right, so I'm not going to go into all of the ones I looked at, but the one that I landed on was VNet internet, which is basically receiving internet via an antenna and satellite system. It's extremely slow. Traditional ones in the US would be like HughesNet. I think they're partnered with Dish, or Dish Network might have their own. So we settled on that. We shipped I don't know how big the antenna was. It's like 10 meters wide or something like that. And we shipped it down to South America.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's really big. I remember we were talking about this. I need to research and see how big it is. It's like bigger than my hands spread out.
We require pictures.
Yeah, SETI? Were you sure you weren't like communicating with the SETI people or something?
Nah, I have plenty of pictures. I took pictures. I have a video that I need to finish, and I'll share all of that with you guys. So we shipped everything down. I got all the material and the equipment, and so we needed to point the antenna to a specific coordinates to reach the satellite. And long story short, we really didn't point it correctly. So that piece of the project just really got put on hold. And then it was just a huge disappointment. So I went back home. Actually, I went back after that trip to finish the location where the internet cafe would be, and I think I sent Deborah a picture of that location. So the whole goal was to set up an internet cafe, which further justifies the fact that we shouldn't be using VNet internet. It was just going to be a bad situation overall. So long story short, I went back home, did my research, and I'm talking about 2 years. So within the past month or 2 months, that's when I landed on Althea. And then I realized, like, what am I doing point to point? Like, I could have just figured out some type of point to point system from the local city or the local village that had a strong internet connection. And so I'm glad I don't have to figure that piece out, because you guys have pretty much done most of that work for me. So I'm following the model, and I'm just really glad to, be this far.
Do you think that like having the relays is going to be helpful for you, either in like Phillipsburg, where you can involve like local businesses, or down there in Guyana, where you can work with some of the partners, whether they're like municipal or like local businesses, and having them be relays and make money? How does that fit into what you're working on?
So the two locations are a bit different. One being that this is America, and the other being that that's Guyana, South America. It's a whole different culture, whole different vibe. And in both locations, having a relay will work and be beneficial for both systems. Here in the US, it will allow obviously the network to grow stronger. Well, both locations, it will help to grow the network, create a strong network, and allow someone else to have incentive to actually be a part of it. When you set up your relay, you can make some money, you can learn about internet and more technology. And some people are so interested in really getting involved in technological projects and things like that, and they have no way to do so. So I feel like that's a really nice way to get someone involved, show them a piece of technology, and get their minds intrigued. So that was a bit of the US. But on the Guyanese side, I would say that it will help, because specifically for the incentive, if you tell someone that they're going to be able to make money, it really helps. You know, especially when now that we have this as a cryptocurrency side of things, it's not just money. It will be, beneficial for someone to not only make money but also to grow cryptocurrency. Is that the right way to say it? Grow cryptocurrency or collect?
Grow adoption.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also curious too. I mean, I've been working with you and on the Guyana project, but there's obviously different obstacles for setting up in an area like that than the hurdles that we have in the United States. And I think our audience would be curious about that as well, like just some of the different things that you have to deal with there as opposed to the United States.
All right. Well, the good thing about the country, first off, is it's the only English speaking country in South America, and most people don't even realize that that exists. So we have an English based country that's very third world. There's a lot of poverty in certain places. There's a lot of corruption in certain places. And you have a lot of, I want to say, like really stubborn, like structured governmental people. So we have to really understand the way the country runs, and then follow the way that they do things. It's not going to be anything close to just going in like America. You find this person and then you start doing your business. You really need to know who to speak to, where to go, how to present the project, where's the best location to start. And so once you get past those hurdles, you really can succeed in what you're trying to do. So that's pretty much where we're at right now, just trying to find out where to start, who to speak to, and kind of going with the flow.
I was just going to share some comments from the chat. Chris with a K says both transatlantic P2P connection win, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. And then they also say Althea is a practical use for cryptocurrency. It doesn't break down borders. It completely flies over, under, and around them. Subject to regulation, of course, but a step in the right direction. So yeah, if you want to add any thoughts to those comments, anyone on the team or Matt.
Well, I can respond to the cryptocurrency. One of the main things that we have to deal with in South America, I can say as a whole, not just Guyana, is the use of cash. And I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with that. Most of the time, it's kind of I don't want to sound prejudiced or anything, but like the higher, how would you say this? Like upper scale people, if you will, like government workers and people that are really established, they're the only ones that will be dealing with debit cards and credit cards. Then you have like middle class and lower class, and maybe even the middle class and the lower class still wouldn't qualify for a debit card. And when I say qualify, it's not really a qualification. It's just the fact that the people aren't going to the bank to get a debit card because they're so used to using cash and they're so used to what everybody else is doing. So here comes cryptocurrency, and with geniuses like Justin and Jehan, you guys developed your system where the cash can be converted. So I want to put this into play in Guyana, where we could not only teach people that there's something else than cash, but teach them about cryptocurrency and kind of bridge a gap that's been there for years and really has there's no concept coming in the future to fix that, So this is kind of like a huge breakthrough. So just a quick update on that.
Yeah, in the time I've been in South America, what I noticed is that electronic money was actually used a lot, but it wasn't in the form of credit cards like we're used to in the United States, but it was in the form of phone cards or some gambling type cards. So people are generally pretty familiar with the concept of electronic money. And so I'm not sure how we're going to do it in Guyana, but we could set something up where people buy the cryptocurrency at the store.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing is they don't just have to use it on their routers.
Exactly.
They're each other, send it to people in other countries. And so it could be a way to bootstrap more of an advanced economy without all the hassle of going to a bank and getting a credit card and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit like, and I've heard this in other places, concepts of like you're jumping infrastructure. So,
yeah,
you're kind of, that sort of concept. So does anyone else in the team have more questions for Matt, Deborah, or?
I mean, maybe you might have discussed it with Deborah already, and I just wasn't part of the discussion, but I was wondering, just on that point, how were you actually thinking of having people buy the cryptocurrency in Guyana?
So you nailed it. If it would be the relays or specific stores, they might not even be on the network. I will set people up where they're knowledgeable, they're technological, they can understand and realize what cryptocurrency is, and they might already do understand. So I'll set them up where they would receive the cash, and then they will send the credit or the cryptocurrency to the correct address. And then they just keep the system going. Whenever someone needs to top up their router, they go to that specific person that's closest to them. And then eventually the goal is to, as you mentioned, to use this for another form of payment, money transfer system. And that could also be another form of income as well for whoever is involved.
Nice. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. That's all really, really interesting. And I think we're all super excited for what's happening in Guyana and in Phillipsburg.
Thank you.
If there aren't any other questions for Matt, we do have some questions that were part of the sign-up sheet. So I will get into those. For Deborah, how it works, what it creates beyond internet, such as community. So I think this is in reference to Altheahoods and what they make. Is it just about the internet, or is it more?
Yeah, I'm not going to dive really into how it works. That's obviously a much bigger conversation. I'm definitely happy to have conversations or for folks to take a look at the materials. But as far as like what it creates, beyond just like a peer-to-peer payment system, I wanted to kind of share my experience in my community, right? So, about 9 months ago, we really started to build this out and have the system running and having people pay for the bandwidth. And at that point, it was really a pretty simple sell. This internet's going to be faster. It's going to be cheaper than what you currently have. And so we started to get adoption and add people on from there. And then it's also kind of managed by a board of directors here because it's a cooperative. And, the board of directors was, behind that connectivity. And then one of the things that I've started to recently see happen over the last maybe 3 or 4 months is that people feel a sense of ownership in their equipment, in their ability also to make choices now. Like they can connect to their neighbors or choose a different neighbor to connect to, or they can now take that equipment and monetize it and resell to their neighbors. And they feel in control and they feel more like they have a resilient network here that belongs to us here in Klatskina, and that we benefit financially from this network. Their neighbors are benefiting. It's not a big company. And that's been very powerful. And then we've seen my board of directors, we'll go and we had like a picnic and they were talking about, how strong this makes it and how we were able to solve these problems together. And then we also see the relays then taking more control of their monetary situation and making choices and going. We have Matt, who's great. He's one of our relays. He'll take a bottle of wine to his neighbors on every Saturday and knock on the door and see if they want to get connected to the internet. And so you're seeing more of these sorts of behaviors. So it is really amazing to see the community come together with just kind of a collective sense of ownership, and then also having that individual sense of choice and ownership as well. It's been really, really an amazing thing to see. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I definitely, I would second that. Just being on the marketing side and the community management side of that, I definitely see the community getting involved and getting excited and really wanting to be a part of the project. So it's awesome. Another question we had and this is more for Jehan, how can I get involved with Althea as a career? And this is actually a question we get a lot from people out there and from various different platforms and interests. So yeah, Jehan, how can someone get involved with Althea?
Yeah, so the best way to get involved is to go to republic.co/Althea, and that's the organizer onboarding program. So you're going to be able to earn Althea governance tokens by learning about Althea, and then watch some videos and stuff. And then there's a guide to making a proposal for Althea in your area. And you submit that proposal, and Deborah looks at it and figures out whether it's a good proposal and whether Althea will work in your area. And then we will help you set up your own Althea network, like Matthew and many others. And that would probably be the best way. We have some people who, as a career, definitely if there are a lot of people in your area, if there's more than maybe 500 people that could be served by your network, that starts to be a pretty good income for the organizers. And then the other thing is we have some people who are excited about doing their own networks, but they are also working on they're also working on, in the future, maybe having a thing where they teach other people how to make Althea networks. So that might be something that, comes up as a good career in the future. So yeah, that'd be my answer.
Awesome. Thank you. That's really helpful. So yeah, for everyone who wants to get involved with Althea, you can, in the description, we have all of our links, and there is a link to the Republic page. I just had to check it. There's also a link to our website and our blog, and you can follow us on Twitter. But yeah, if you want to get involved as an organizer, which is really the best pathway to an Althea career, visit the Republic page and start watching some videos and start building your proposal. Is there anything else, any last minute questions or any last minute comments from our panel?
Well, I could actually, there was something I wanted to clear up that I heard earlier. And this is kind of random, but in reference to the cryptocurrency in our system, there are 2 tokens involved. And the first token is the one that everybody who uses it will use. It's a stable coin. Its value is at $1. Perhaps in the future, we'll be able to bring in stable coins that mirror the value of other national currencies. But for end users and for relays, gateways, they want to be receiving the money in a dollar equivalent token to avoid the volatility of a free floating cryptocurrency. The other token is the Althea governance token. And this is the kind of token that you can earn by going to republic.co/Althea and doing the organizer onboarding program there. And that is that basically governs the Althea blockchain. So what happens with that is that if you have that, you basically delegate it to validators. And the validators are like miners. They're miners for the blockchain. And by doing that, in the future, this depends on the blockchain being up, depends on a lot of other things. Basically, you help kind of control the direction of the blockchain, and you also get a piece of the transaction fees from all the routers paying each other. So it's like having those tokens is like being a miner in Bitcoin, but it's for the Althea blockchain, and it doesn't use a physical mining chip or waste any electricity or anything like that. So that's the concept there. So just to make sure that people understand the distinction, how it all works.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really important to understand that. And you can go to our blog. We have a lot of discussion, and there are some links in the description as well about the validators, our posts and articles on our blog about what our validators are doing and everything right now. So you can learn more about that on our blog. And I think we're good. We kept this call a little shorter and sweeter than usual, but I think that's a good move. And we really enjoyed having Matt here to tell us about what he's doing. And I guess any last words, just say goodbye. We'll go down the line. First, Matt, if you just want to say goodbye and remind any last words, and and then we'll sign off.
All right. Well, first off, it was a pleasure having myself, talk about everything. And I just want to be an encouragement to everyone that might be watching that's interested. I would say to start and speak to Deborah, get your proposal through, and make sure that you put a good plan together, and start collecting some Althea coins. I think but I know it's a great project that will be very successful. It takes a good amount of time to set up, but once it's set up, it's very lucrative.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, Deborah, you're next in going up my list.
I just want to again thank Matthew for being here today with us, and I'm excited for the day when we get to talk about Phillipsburg and Guyana breaking ground and setting up antennas, and just excited for all these new networks coming on board, and wanted to thank all of our participants in that and all of our Altheahoods organizers are doing a great job.
Awesome. Justin, last words.
Yeah, so just keep an eye out for my next dev update. I'll be going over both my most recent interesting bugs, because I actually have to write blog posts about them, because some of them are so ridiculous I wouldn't really believe them, and I'd probably forget about them in 6 months. And that's really it.
Awesome. We can't wait for that. Jehan, last words.
Yeah, if you want to be an Althea organizer, go to republic.co/Althea. It's the best way to learn. That's kind of our funnel. That's the channel we send people to. So you can also get on Discord, and you can message Deborah on there at Simpier. But she'll probably also tell you to do the onboarding program, but she may be able to answer any specific questions you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So thank you to everyone who's watching, everyone in the chat who is chatting with us and saying hello. We love you guys. It's awesome. And yeah, all the links are in the description, the Republic link, the links to our blog and to our Twitter. We're at Althea Network. And yeah, follow us, join the Discord, chat with us to stay updated. And yeah, go become an organizer. Watch some videos on the Republic page. They're really great. And so, and that's all for today. So we will see you next time. Bye.
All right. Thank you.